Just how seriously is the Department of Justice taking Donald Trump's security? We ask the tough questions on the Wednesday edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show, plus a surprising revelation by Missouri Senator Josh Hawley about a planned Trump rally in Wisconsin. If you would like to join us on this, the Wednesday edition, our phone lines always open. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. The former president has apparently been briefed on specific threats to his life, coming not from a lone nut job, but rather the Iranian government. This was the startling revelation yesterday that once again calls into question just how closely, just how carefully the Biden administration is monitoring these threats, but also just how seriously they're taking very real threats on Trump's life. The statement from the Trump campaign, it's Senior Communications Director Stephen Chung. President Trump was briefed earlier today by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence regarding real and specific threats from Iran to assassinate him in an effort to destabilize and sow chaos in the United States. Intelligence officials have identified that these continued and coordinated attacks have heightened in the past few months, and law enforcement officials across all agencies are working to ensure President Trump is protected and the election is free from interference. Make no mistake, the terror regime in Iran loves the weakness of Kamala Harris and is terrified of the strength and resolve of President Trump. He will let nothing stop him or get in his way to fight for the American people and to make America great again. That statement from Stephen Chung, Trump campaign communications director. Now, we have been assured since the second assassination attempt against President Trump, the suspect was charged this week with the attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate. President Trump, as one would expect, thinks that's a bit of a slap on the wrist for charges. He is, in fact, a president. He is a former president and potentially the future president. And he thinks that the Justice Department is going light on the attempted assassin, whose son, by the way, was just picked up on child pornography charges yesterday. Now, this comes as the Department of Justice, for reasons known only to God, put out an unredacted letter in which the would-be assassin did in fact confess and say this was an assassination attempt against Donald Trump. I can understand why that is put out, because it's evidence that implicates, yes, this is an assassination attempt. But then there's also fully unredacted a bounty that this guy places on Trump's head. I will pay you $150,000. I failed, but if you succeed, I'll pay out this bounty. Why was the DOJ putting that out? They could have very easily put that this guy is making other specific threats and we don't want to encourage copycats, so we're redacting this. Very easy to do. Or they can say we have communication from the killer in which he wrote down his confession. That's all that needs to be said. It makes no sense that this is put out there. Now, we have been told since that second assassination attempt that President Trump has the same level of security detail that the current president, Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris have. According to Missouri Senator Josh Hawley on Fox News last night, that is not true.
Yes, in fact, we have a new whistleblower report tonight, Jesse. Whistleblower with direct knowledge of the Trump campaign and the Secret Service and their interactions tell us that the Secret Service recently told the Trump campaign they could not secure a rally for Donald Trump in the state of Wisconsin. Now, this is interesting because it directly contradicts what the Secret Service Director, Rowe, said last week when he said, Trump is getting exactly the same level of protection as Kamala Harris and the sitting president. Really, because Kamala Harris just held a rally in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am told by a whistleblower with direct knowledge of the situation that Secret Service says that Trump should not and could not have a rally in Wisconsin because Secret Service could not protect him and adequately staff it. This calls into question, Jesse, what they're saying about staffing. It calls into question what they're saying about parity between Harris and Trump. And once again, it underscores the fact they're not telling us the whole truth.
Especially since, the Republican National Convention was held in Wisconsin, and that went off without a hitch. There was adequate security there. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, her running mate, have set up shop repeatedly in Wisconsin. They were just bragging about the huge turnout she had. What was she at? The Alliant Energy Center in Madison on Friday. Oh my gosh, look at all these people. Trump can't do the exact same thing in a critical swing state, quite possibly the must-win swing state, because why? Now, there are credible and serious threats, according to the Trump campaign, and we have not yet heard from the FBI or the DOJ, anyone in an investigative capacity confirming this just yet. I have no reason to deny it. And it's interesting, isn't it, that Iran has apparently been meddling in our elections for quite some time now. In a little noticed story from this summer, Iran took credit for hacking the Trump campaign and then turning the documents over to the Biden campaign. Now, the Biden campaign, to its immense credit, actually did the right thing. At least they're saying that they did the right thing, and immediately went to law enforcement and said, look, this is the hacked material that we got from the Trump campaign. The Iranians are taking credit for this. Remember, this led to a 3-year-long investigation into whether the Trump campaign colluded with Russia, because Russia, at least it was suspected that one of its hacking collectives known as Fancy Bear got into the Hillary Clinton emails as well as the DNC emails. You might remember that on the eve of the 2016 Democratic National Convention, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who is then the chairwoman of the party, had to step down because of the revelations that, oh, hey, what do you know? Donna Brazile, current ABC News contributor, was actually rigging a primary debate by giving questions in advance to Hillary Clinton. The exact same thing that another whistleblower is alleging that ABC News did for Kamala Harris a couple of weeks ago. Little beside the point, to be sure, but let's go back through what's been going on. You might remember that the Trump administration rescinded the Iran nuclear deal that was essentially giving Iran billions and billions and billions of dollars. What the Obama administration was trying to do, incredibly foolishly, was to try to get peace in the Middle East by going through what it thought was the best possible player, and that would be Iran. The Trump administration, led by Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, said, well, this is absolutely ridiculous. Iran has no interest in peace. It's clearly using this money to fund terror attacks through its proxy armies, like on October 7th, an anniversary that is fast approaching, the single worst slaughter of Jewish people since the Holocaust. That was very clearly funded by Iran. And remember the big debate about whether this was actually funded by the unfrozen assets that Iran suddenly had. And of course, the best excuse that we got, well, it wasn't that specific money. No, but Iran knew that it had the money that was unfrozen by the Biden administration, so it could spend other resources trying to kill Jewish people, which it did on October 7th. So the Iranian regime clearly prefers a continuation of the relations that it's had with the Biden-Harris administration and is rather obviously hacking into the Trump campaign to try to aid Biden and Harris. Now, we're told, of course, that the hacked materials were turned over to law enforcement. There was no collusion whatsoever. It's not even suspected. But now that exact same regime, those exact same murderous tyrants, are trying to murder the leading presidential candidate. And yes, I did not misspeak. I do believe that Donald Trump is now leading this presidential race. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll get to a couple of polls that suggest just that, including one that is about the most Trump hostile in the entire country, showing him with a 1-point lead over Kamala Harris. Nobody is suggesting that the Biden campaign is colluding with Iran to assassinate Donald Trump, but let's just say this exact same set of facts was taking place in, say, 2016, and there was a plot to assassinate Hillary Clinton. I'm taking a wild guess that the coverage would be totally different. Now, all this is going on as an increasing number of liberal crazies make increasingly violent threats and, in fact, are trying to, emboldened by the July 13th assassination of former President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, trying to take their shot on him. We had another one on September 15th. We had another threat just issued. A man from Idaho who calls himself Crazy Bull has about the most crazy bull I've ever heard spew out of somebody's mouth. He was just charged with making terroristic threats for repeatedly calling Mar-a-Lago and saying he was going to execute Trump. Now, I don't normally do this, play the unhinged ramblings of a true lunatic. We like to have the fun, crazy, silly liberal lunatics that we highlight every day in the Unhinged Liberal of the Day. And I thought about making this guy the Unhinged Liberal of the Day, but said, you know what? This is too deadly serious because this guy is truly nuts. He is truly on a break from reality. He's psychotic. He's sociopathic. He needs to be locked up. In a TikTok video that is making the rounds on social media, he claims to be the king of the United States. He owns the Black Hills. He has all sorts of water rights, maritime rights, air rights. He's talking crazy, but then he makes very specific threats against Trump and Bobby Kennedy Jr., who he repeatedly refers to as John Jr. John F. Kennedy Jr., of course, died about 25 years ago in a plane crash. But listen to this level of craziness and understand the very real threats that exist, both foreign and domestic, against the former president.
I want Trump in a body bag. I want John Kennedy Jr. in a body bag on TV. And I want the military to turn this country back over to me, well, because we're going to do some other stuff. I got some other bigger plans going. But I tell you what, Trump, Donald J. Trump, you are hereby expelled from heaven. Your immunity is revoked. And as the king of everywhere, Trump, you're going to have your head chopped off. But not before first being stabbed in the heart with a wooden stake, because you're fired just like Kennedy.
He goes on from there. Again, these are the unhinged ramblings of a true sociopathic person. This also illustrates that while there are a whole lot of people out there who can watch MSNBC and watch CNN and listen to public radio and hear this threat to democracy nonsense and brush it off. You and I can listen to this and say, okay, this is a rather cynical effort to try to win an election by freaking out people that everything they love is going to go away. But there are a tiny handful of people. And lest you think that, well, it's rhetoric coming from both sides. No, over the past 7 years, we have had a distinct lack of far-right psychopaths attempting to assassinate Democrat political figures. You can go all the way back to the congressional baseball shooting in the spring of 2017, straight through to right after Roe v. Wade was rescinded. In fact, even before, when the Dobbs v. Jackson opinion was leaked in a direct effort to try to physically intimidate the conservative Supreme Court justices into changing their opinion, there was no other reason for that opinion to leak. Opinions just don't leak. It never happens. But that one, arguably the biggest in the court's history since Roe v. Wade, I think one can certainly make that argument. Certainly the most publicized Supreme Court opinion, I think, since Roe v. Wade. I can't even think of one that comes close. You had immediate threats on the justices' lives. You had immediate illegal protests in front of the justices' homes designed specifically to physically intimidate them. You then had a crazy left-wing loon go to Brett Kavanaugh's neighborhood armed to the teeth with the specific self-identified intent of trying to kill him. You have had also threats over the past couple of weeks against the 6 conservative justices. You had one using the N-word repeatedly to describe Clarence Thomas while making violent threats against him. You've now got 2 assassination attempts against Donald Trump, all the while Democrats, including the president and vice president of the United States, refusing to say, okay, this guy doesn't represent an existential threat. He's not actually Hitler. Can we please stop with the attempts to try to save the world? And that's what ultimately this comes down to. All of these psychopaths view themselves as heroic figures who are going to save the republic and save the world by taking out the single greatest threat to it, Donald Trump. They are quite literally fanning the flames of insanity every single time they talk about this and how mainstreamed it is. Now, I will grant you, Donald Trump says almost the exact same thing. Not quite as specifically, but saying they are trying to ruin this country. They are ruining this country by importing all of these illegal immigrants with inflation. They're running this country into the ground. There is a distinct difference, however, in the fact that this, to my knowledge, has not influenced anybody. It's not inspired anybody to try to murder Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, but also this is far different. I mean, think about the different tone. They are ruining this country. That's pretty standard rhetoric. It's extreme, but it's nothing that we haven't heard before. This is the most important election anywhere, anytime. Most important election in our history. The other side is ruining the country, running it into the ground. This is standard stuff. Saying, no, not only is this person a bad leader, not only does this person have bad character, but he represents by his very presence a unique and existential danger to freedom around the world and self-governance here at home, and we must stop him by any means necessary. There is a distinct difference, and it's beyond apparent that it is influencing crazy people. Quite frankly, folks, I am scared for the life of Donald Trump right now. I genuinely mean that. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
The biggest headliners in live music shared the stage this past weekend at our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Big Sean,
Camila Cabello, Doja Cat, Dua Lipa,
Gwen Stefani,
Halsey,
Hosier, Keith Urban,
New Kids on the Block,
Paramore,
The Black Crowes,
The Weeknd, Thomas Rhett,
Victoria Monet.
Chris from the band Coldplay.
This lineup for this festival is nuts.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Get ready to relive the once-in-a-lifetime moments starting October 7th, only on Hulu.
Make American Family Field your space to grow relationships with clients, employees, and prospects with Brewers season memberships for the 2025 season. Your corporate season membership with the Brewers grants exclusive discounts on premium meeting spaces, invitations to networking events, and one-of-a-kind opportunities to grow your business at the ballpark. Learn more about Brewers season memberships for businesses at brewers.com/ticket plans or call 414-902-HITS.
When is the last time you paid less but got more in return? It happens every day if you or a loved one has Medicare Advantage. $0 copays and an average of $2,500 less out of pocket annually, but more benefits like dental, hearing, and vision. More prevention and screenings to keep people healthy. More care for less money. No wonder 33 million seniors choose Medicare Advantage. Visit MedicareAdvantageMajority.org to learn more. Paid for by Medicare Advantage Majority.
Want to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood? Tune in to Brett Octenhagen's Seasonal Services Designer Yard Show to learn landscaping secrets. Visit seasonalservices.com and listen on News Talk 1130 WISN, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Join News Talk 1130
1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is, Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free, and for so many people, the results are game-changing, even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show, a tour de force of truth, no matter how inconvenient or covered up that truth might be elsewhere. You can always get it right here. A Senate report by the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee and Permanent Subcommittee on Investigators has determined that the Secret Service agent in charge of former President Trump's rally in Butler July 13th was, quote, made aware of credible intelligence of a threat against the former president, but didn't pass it along to her supervisor or others planning security for the event. They determined, did these committees, that the Secret Service's lead advanced agent for the Trump rally wrote in a security planning document that there was, quote, no adverse intelligence confirming or concerning the 45th president's visit to Butler despite being notified of an unspecified threat. This is the report from the New York Post. That agent then told Senate investigators that she notified the special agent in charge of the Secret Service's Pittsburgh field office about the credible intelligence before the rally, but he claims that never happened. Had the Pittsburgh special agent in charge known about the potential threat to Trump, the rally at the Butler Farm Show grounds may have been moved indoors. That is what he told Senate investigators. Despite the damning findings, according to the New York Post, the lead agent and 11 other members of the Secret Service interviewed by investigators refused to accept responsibility for any of the numerous security failures identified in the report. The failures resulted, of course, in the death of Corey Comparator, 50 years old, critical injuries to rally attendees David Dutch and James Copenhaver, and, of course, the former president, yes, crazy liberal blue anon whack jobs. He actually did suffer a graze wound to his ear. He didn't fake it. He didn't pretend. He was shot and, in fact, came within 4 millimeters of losing his life. Secret Service counter snipers, including the one who shot and killed the gunman after having him in his sights only mere seconds before firing, were sent to Butler in direct response to the threat, intelligence investigators found. Their fortunate deployment marked the first time a Secret Service counter sniper team has ever been assigned to cover an event for someone other than the president, vice president, or a formally nominated presidential candidate. You might remember that the July 13th shooting happened just a couple of days before Trump formally accepted the Republican Party's nomination in Milwaukee during the convention. The Secret Service's assistant director of the Office of Protective Operations told investigators that officials at the agency determined prior to July 5th that counter snipers would be present at all outdoor events for Trump going forward. According to the report, in his interview with the committee, the USSS Assistant Director for OPO said his decision was based on several factors, including the size and scale of the former president's outdoor events, his being on the cusp of becoming the nominee, and threat information, at least some of which is classified. The report also notes that the FBI indicated that the gunman was not known to the Bureau prior to the assassination attempt. What is still remarkable about this, all these months later, is that we have absolutely no idea about anything having to do with him. Of course, the media's curiosity stopped after he registered as a Republican in 2020, and then, of course, got farther and farther radicalized by this notion that Trump was somehow this existential threat. So the narrative is, well, the guy was a Republican. He's not one of ours. He's a Republican. Oh, yes, because even Republicans who hate Donald Trump, can you really see Charlie Sykes climbing up on top of a roof with a sniper rifle? There's a certain level of sanity that still exists even in the most ardent of never-Trumpers. Clearly, this guy was motivated by the exact same idea that Donald Trump represented this unique and existential threat to the country and the world's stability itself, and that he needed to be the hero of his story. He needed to get on that roof, and he needed to take his shot. I will continue to read through this report. I just opened up the PDF file to see if there's anything that jumps out at me. This was literally just released, so I wanted to make sure I got to it. We're going to lighten things up a little bit. Would you believe that Gwen Walz, my absolute favorite first lady or second lady or any spouse of anybody in politics right now, she's back at it. She is doing her absolute best to convince me that she needs to be the second lady. She's going back to that chant. The Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance will have that, plus her husband making a fool of himself next.
Classical conservatism. Contemporary style. The Dan O'Donnell Show is coming right back.
Dan O'Donnell here, cordially inviting you on the adventure of a lifetime with Cruise and Tour, sailing Norway's breathtaking fjords aboard the magnificent Celebrity Eclipse, June 13th through the 23rd. The soaring mountainous landscapes, the crystal blue waters, the jaw-dropping glaciers, and the charm of old world Europe, all on one magical trip. We'll spend 2 days in Amsterdam, taking in the beauty of one of the most famous cities in the world, and then we'll board our ship, a state-of-the-art vessel with world-class amenities and entertainment. We'll cruise the fjords, which are almost indescribably beautiful. The mountain vistas rise above amazing ports of call like Molde, known as the Town of Roses, and Olden, a 17th century village at the basin of cascading waterfalls. For more information and to make your reservation, call 800-383-3131 or head to cruise-tour.com.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage, so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
While most other furniture finishers restore wood furniture using high-pressure water to remove old lacquer and varnish, we only use a chemical solvent. Because when you use water, it will eventually raise the grain, loosen glue joints, and lift veneer. So if you have something really special that you'd like to restore, call us. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you want your restored antique piece to remain primitive, no problem. Maybe you want to restore it to as good as new condition. We can do that. The way we work is based solely on what your needs are. And that seems to make the process of restoring your unique piece almost always a positive one. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no jobs too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
When it comes to remodeling, everyone has advice about who you should hire. But who can you trust? Your boss? Neighbors? Random online reviews? No. When it comes to remodeling, you can trust NARI. All NARI members are experienced, proven, qualified, and verified by local people who know the industry and have your back. Start your next home improvement project by finding a professional on NARIMilwaukee.org. NARI Milwaukee. Local, trusted, proven.
We've found that the high road is worth the climb, and it's less crowded. At Semperfi, everything we do is done to the best of our ability. There are no shortcuts. It's pretty simple. We do what we say we're going to do because we fully understand that a reputation is never given. It's always earned. It is in our nature to keep our values intact so that when we leave your job, you'll be right there to shake our hand with satisfaction. We've installed massive flat roofs and shingled huge churches, schools, and all kinds of homes from modest to extravagant, all with integrity and pride in our work, and we're going to keep doing it for generations to come. That's what Always Faithful means to us. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semperfi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semperfi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semperfi!
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantage status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like the Beatles Now and Then, celebrating all things Beatles.
Come together, you say goodbye, and I say hello.
Legendary clips, deep cuts, live performances, and all their solo hits. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search the Beatles Now and Then and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
iHeartRadio.
Dan O'Donnell Show, classical conservatism with a contemporary style. Coming up in the 10 o'clock hour, it's Wednesday. We play our weekly game show, Guess What's Racist? Also, just how many extra ballots have gone out in Madison? And we will follow up on our report yesterday regarding the possibility of a ballot being stolen, one in Wauwatosa, one in West Allis, and what exactly is being done about that. But first, look, folks, I understand it's been a bit of a heavy start to the Dan O'Donnell Show today. We've been talking about credible and specific threats against the life of former President Trump. I want to bring things back up. I want to have some fun. We, of course, will do the unhinged liberal of the day. How deranged is Trump derangement syndrome? It can apparently get you to admit to a serious federal crime on national television. The hilarious self-own coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes in the unhinged liberal of the day. Gwen Walz just might be my favorite figure in national politics. She, of course, is the first lady of Minnesota, wants to be the second lady of the United States. She is a teacher, and she continually talks to Democrat audiences as though they are first graders.
You ready? Let's hear it loud and clear like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
Great job, boys and girls. You all get to go outside for extra recess. Now I want you to request your mail-in ballots. If you don't, you'll have to go to the timeout corner. I'm telling you, this woman is a parody of every single over-the-top third-grade teacher I have ever seen.
You ready? Let's hear it loud and clear like we said. Mr. Trump, Mr. Vance, please mind your own business. Oh, that was excellent.
Now, in case you are wondering, yes, she really was wagging her finger as she was leading that chant, which, as we've established, the first time she busted out this beauty isn't really a chant. There's not really a whole lot of rhythm there, but this does sort of reinforce the theme that Tim Walz has been going for. He was at a restaurant yesterday, and he noticed a sign on the wall that said, "Mind your own biscuits, and everything will be gravy." He was taken aback because this is his whole thing.
So I have a saying that everything works better in government and in so many things if you just mind your own damn business. You take care of you. I don't need to comment on your family or what you're doing or what you're eating or any of that. I say it often.
You do. And then exactly 9 days ago, you tell people to go up to strangers in the grocery store and say, "Hey, you voting for Kamala? You better vote for Kamala. You voting for Kamala yet?" Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about when we talk about minding our business.
This thing's going to be a battle for the next 52 days. It's going to be in rooms, just like this. It's going to be one door-to-door, call-to-call, $5 donation, trying to have that hard conversation in the produce aisle with the person you saw there at the grocery store and ask, have you voted yet?
The only thing I'm talking about with someone in the produce aisle is, "Hey, where's the dairy section?" Or, "Oh my God, how is broccoli this expensive?" Yes, I'm totally going to go up to somebody. Look, I tell people this is how you should vote for a living, and I'm not doing that in the grocery store. "Hey, this is radio's Dan O'Donnell. You should really think about voting for Trump." I would hope somebody would slap me in the face if I would do that. New polling shows some serious bad news for Kamala Harris. Now, I always say to take national polls with a huge grain of salt because ultimately they don't matter. They can give you an idea of where this election is, but I'm not saying that, well, it's totally irrelevant. I don't say the popular vote is completely irrelevant, but we don't have one popular election here. We have 50 states plus the District of Columbia, and the name of the game is the Electoral College because you can win the Electoral College by still trailing by 4 to 5 million votes. Remember, Trump actually lost the election by 7 million votes and came within 45,000 in Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona of winning the Electoral College. The latest Quinnipiac University poll out yesterday shows Trump leading the popular vote by 48% to 47% among likely voters. That would be probably equal to 312, 320 electoral votes. For Trump, you only need 270 to win, of course. My point is that it would be a landslide. Quinnipiac isn't like Rasmussen, or it isn't like, what's another one that's Trafalgar, which doesn't do national polling, but is typically far more bullish on Trump and Republicans than other polls. Quinnipiac is probably the most Democrat-skewed poll that there is. In fact, their final poll in late October, early November of 2020 showed Joe Biden with an 11% lead nationally. 11. Trump is now leading by 1. In addition to that, the Gallup organization does a survey of party ID, meaning how do you identify yourself by political party? Are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you an independent? They do this every quarter. For the very first time since they've started doing this in the third quarter of a presidential election year, more people identify as Republicans than Democrats by 3. By 3 points, more people are saying that they're Republicans than Democrats. There are still a lot of independents. So again, analyze this and take away from it what you will, because a lot of those people who vote Democrat will call themselves independent. I still believe a lot more who vote Republican don't like the Republican brand. They are the so-called Trump vote, the Trumpers, if you will, the MAGA Republicans who don't much care for the Republican Party, so they call themselves independents, but you'd better believe that they're going to vote for Donald Trump. In addition to this, there are also signs that early on, remember there are 3 states that have party identification, where you have to register to vote as a Republican, as a Democrat, as a Libertarian, as an independent, and you can only vote in the primaries of the party that you're registered to vote in. Those states are Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Florida. In all 3 of those states, remember, early voting is on now. Mail-in balloting is on now. And coming up after the top of the hour, we'll get into some major problems with that in Madison. We are seeing a much higher percentage of ballots being returned by those registered Republicans in deep red counties than there were in either 2022 or 2020 when absentee mail-in voting really started. It's kind of pointless to compare mail-in voting stats from now to 2018 because it was 2020 that sort of changed everything when it comes to mail-in voting. In every one of those states, and I think Florida, if anybody is trying to tell you that Florida is in play for the Democrats, they don't know what they're talking about. In terms of total voter registration, I believe Republicans now have something like a 1.3 million voter advantage. When it comes to absentee ballots returned, when it comes to the recent history, and what's kind of amazing about Florida is that in 2020, this was about as 50-50 a state as it gets. Ron DeSantis won by a hair. Bill Nelson very narrowly lost his Senate seat to Rick Scott. By 2020, Florida was an easy win for Republicans. 2022, every statewide Republican won by double digits. It's just remarkable the impact that Ron DeSantis and the Republican Party of Florida have had on that state in such a short amount of time. So Florida is probably pretty comfortably in Trump's column. When you look at North Carolina, and there are a couple of polls out today, Fabrizio Ward did one for the AARP. That typically is a little bit more right-leaning of a poll. It shows North Carolina going to Trump 50-47 in a head-to-head, 48-46 in the full field, which is a little unnerving because what this does mean is that Chase Oliver, the libertarian who's actually a far-left lib, pretending to be a libertarian, Cornel West and Jill Stein are actually taking about 2 points away from Trump, but only 1 point away from Kamala Harris. That said, Trump notoriously underpolls in swing states. So if he's up 3, he's probably closer to up 4 or up 5. I think you could probably safely assume that, again, the only poll that matters is the one when the votes are counted. But Trump is probably going to win North Carolina, which brings us to Pennsylvania. traditionally Republican areas are turning out in big numbers for mail-in voting. Democrats are still leading in mail-in voting, but the number is way down. Now, the suggestion here that all Democrats are just going to show up on Election Day and they're just going to flood the polls or they're going to vote early is, yes, a possibility. But the last two election cycles suggest that Democrats vote in massive numbers early and by mail, and that Republicans dominate Election Day. So if there is a huge decrease in the number of mail-in ballots, you can either assume that, well, there are Democrats who are going to sit this one out, entirely possible. 2020 was about the biggest turnout election we've ever seen because it was sort of like Oprah Winfrey. You get a ballot, and you get a ballot, and you get a ballot. Or a lot of those Democrats or a lot of people who voted Democrat in 2020 are now voting Republican. We are also seeing a lot of first-time voters, in fact, upwards of 20% in Virginia, who are actually young voters and also potentially voting for Trump based on where those votes are coming from. I know this is a little bit deep in the weeds. You can't take a whole lot out of it, but what do I always say? Look at polls. Look at where the votes are actually coming from. Look at who's voting. Try to get the best, most comprehensive set of data to inform where you think this race is. We named the unhinged liberal of the day, who admitted to a bunch of crimes on MSNBC. It's hilarious, and it's next.
If you already know football or you want to learn more, listen to the Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest every week on News Talk 1130 WISN. Mark, along with football handicapping expert Mike Merlette, dissect the most interesting games. Plus, a listener can pick a game for a chance to win a $100 gift card.
The Mark Belling Football Preview and Picking Contest is presented by Holiday Automotive of Fond du Lac, featuring hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles, plus impeccable customer service. It's worth the trip. HolidayAutomotive.com.
Hey you! Daydreaming about that perfect house again? Hi, it's John Reeds from Great Midwest Bank, and whether your dream includes buying or building or renovating your current home, I'm happy to report that mortgage rates are finally starting to turn around. So make those dreams a reality with a custom-fit Great Midwest Bank mortgage product. We've been serving Southeast Wisconsin homeowners for nearly 90 years. Find a local experienced loan officer at greatmidwestbank.com. We can't wait to get started. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Hi, I'm Mike Madsen, owner of Color Wheel Painting. I have a confession. In 20 years of business, Color Wheel has made a lot of mistakes. Too many to count. We even have some negative Google reviews. We don't pay to have them scrubbed. I remember unplugging an internet box and having a customer come flying down the stairs yelling at me. He was a day trader. I've chased a dog down the street because I never asked my customers if they had any escape artist pets. I've used the wrong bathroom, been too early, left too late, and the list goes on. But you know what? Color Wheel has made it 20 years because everyone here has learned from the mistakes made. Any problem became an opportunity. Any oversight became a process revision. And now I can confidently say Color Wheel Painting is the best choice for anyone seeking an overall great experience and great results for their painting project. So choose Color Wheel. Color Wheel Painting. ColorWheelPainting.com.
When it comes to renovations in your home, timing is everything, and Bathfitter gets that. They work around your schedule, making it a smooth and hassle-free process. And when they're done, you won't even know they were there. No mess, no stress. Just the stunning new tub or shower, ready for you to enjoy. For a limited time, save up to $1,200 or no interest until 2029. Call Bathfitter 262-395-4925. Trust Bathfitter, celebrating 40 years in business with over 2 million happy customers.
EasyHomeBidder.com's Bob Tarantino here. Babe Ruth's pointing home run game jersey sold in 2005 for $940,000, then again in 22 for $12.6 million, and just recently for $24 million at auction. The only way to know the maximum someone is willing to pay for your home today is an EasyHomeBidder.com agent listing it on MLS and EasyHomeBidder.com. Want to finally be the high bidder? That's EasyHomeBidder.com. Real estate for winners. EasyHomeBidder.com. That's easyhomebidder.com.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell. Are you looking for a reliable partner to brighten your home? Tired of contractors not following through or calling you back? At Bayview Shade and Blind, they're much more than just window shades and blinds. They're your trusted guide from start to finish. Unlike many contractors, they stay in touch every step of the way, ensuring your peace of mind from the first consultation to long after installation. With Bayview Shade and Blind, both you and your home are in good hands, sharing a little sunshine from their family to yours.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Accident Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Hard to believe the kids are back in school already and fall is at hand. This just might be the perfect time to visit the Sawmill Restaurant and Pub in Richfield to say goodbye to summer and hello to fall. Take the Holy Hill exit from Highway 41, turn west, and then take a right at Wolf Road. The Sawmill is just around the bend on your left.
Buck here with Buck Buckley's Total Basement Finishing. It's about bucking time. You got the basement of your dreams. With master electricians, carpenters, and plumbers on staff, we handle everything from start to finish. Visit basementbuck.com or call for a free consultation today.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
It's kind of remarkable the degree to which Donald Trump has broken brains over the past 9 years, including of those who once worked for him. This brings us to our unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is former Trump attorney and fixer Michael Cohen, who went on MSNBC yesterday and was asked, hey, what happens to you if Trump is elected? Do you think he'll use the justice system to prosecute his political enemies? You know, kind of like Biden is doing right now. Rather remarkably, Cohen admitted to committing a crime.
What do you think happens to you if he wins?
Well, I'm out of here. I mean, I'm already working on a foreign passport with a completely different name. I don't know how it's going to work as far as dealing with my wife and my children. I certainly don't want them moving to where I'm looking to go. But I don't think yourself, the president of MSNBC, General Milley, Liz Cheney. How many people has he turned around and said that these are people that I intend to go after?
18 U.S.C. 1543, a federal law, prohibits the forgery, alteration, or use of a forged or altered passport, whether it's issued by the United States or a foreign government. This is punishable by up to 10 years in federal prison and a fine of $250,000. And Michael Cohen just admitted that he's engaging in it on live TV. I'll tell you, folks, it doesn't get more unhinged than that. Michael Cohen, your unhinged liberal of the day. We dive into the Madison duplicate ballot story coming up after the top of the hour news. Just what is going to be done about all those extra ballots that are now in the wild?
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Milwaukee police say they're investigating possible human remains found in the Milwaukee River, but they're not from Sade Robinson. Police say they got a call about the remains Saturday afternoon near MLK Drive in Highland, about a block from the Fiserv Forum. A team recovered the remains, but investigators aren't saying much about them. Milwaukee police are saying, though, that the remains are not those of Sade Robinson. She's the young Milwaukee woman who went missing in April. Some pieces of her body have been found since. Ryan Ruth is officially being charged with the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. CNN reports prosecutors filed the charges yesterday afternoon. Ruth allegedly camped outside of Trump's West Palm Beach golf course for hours armed with a rifle earlier this month. Monday, the Justice Department revealed a letter written by Ruth addressed to the world, which said, "This is an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you." Ruth also faces multiple gun-related charges. Brett Favre has Parkinson's disease. Favre made that revelation yesterday while testifying before Congress. Favre told Congress he's been diagnosed while talking about the Mississippi welfare fraud case that he's been connected to for years. Favre isn't saying how he came to be diagnosed, and he isn't saying if his NFL career played a role. Favre played 20 seasons in the NFL, and he suffered a number of concussions during that time. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Brewers and Pirates go at it again tonight in Pittsburgh after a win by the Brew Crew over the Bucks last night. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, it's Dan O'Donnell from Mander Collision and Glass, which really is the best decision you can make after a collision. But don't just take my word for it. You hear me talk all the time about how great Mander is. Here's customer Melissa, who writes, "This is the second vehicle we have had repaired at Mander, and we will keep coming back anytime it's needed. They kept me updated every step of the way and took care of car rental details, so I was never without transportation. I had a question after I left, and everything was answered. They don't just send you off with a hearty handshake. They stand behind their work with a lifetime warranty, and customer service is absolutely top notch." That's right, Melissa, and that's why I have been recommending Mander and been a loyal Mander customer for so many years. Now with 7 locations to serve you. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. Mander really is the best decision after a collision.
Offering the latest information and the greatest analysis. Stay informed all day, every day on News Talk 1130 WISN. Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Some patchy fog this morning, otherwise becoming mostly sunny with a high near 74 today, light northwest breeze. Overnight tonight, cooling to the low 50s with some upper 40s away from Lake Michigan, mid 70s on the way for tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Blindster is a family-run business that began in 2010, and we've sold millions of custom blinds, shades, and shutters and received over 100,000 five-star reviews. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Granite Plus is here to save your renovation from turning into a circus. Meet Bob. Bob hired experts who turned his kitchen into a flendipulous mess.
Hey, what the?
Granite Plus handles countertops, cabinets, and flooring. Fribble-tastic prices and 0% financing.
Done and done.
Finish on time. Stay on budget. Flips, rentals, dream homes. Granite Plus transforms your property into a splendiferous snazzle-frump.
Wow, this is perfect.
Visit Granite Plus in New Berlin today and leave the juggle fluff to the clowns.
When this show is this good,
Who needs FM?
The Mark Belling Late Afternoon Show on News Talk 1130 WISN.
This is Mike and Jim from Brillo Home Improvements. You know, Jim, there are a lot of things that we're pretty proud of here at Brillo, but one thing that sticks out to me is repeat business.
Well, it means not only did we do a good job, but sometime during the project's progress, a connection was made.
Now, it could be because of the quality work we're known for, or it could be our down-to-earth approach.
But when we see folks come back to us for their next new project,
it expresses the one thing that our customers definitely need to have to hire us, and that is trust. After over 45 years, we've earned the awards.
And when you look at our portfolio of projects,
You'll see for yourself how good we actually are.
and when you meet us, you're going to know that you can trust us. For NARI award-winning home remodeling,
And about as down-to-earth of an approach as you're going to find.
go to BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
And it will only be a matter of time before we take your project to a whole new level.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Brillo, Brillo, Brillo.
You know, we've always tried to make the right decisions, and I think that's what's gotten us to this point.
Ben and Arvid from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
The people we hire are like us, and they try to make the right decisions. When you do that, you end up satisfying customers, and customers keep coming back.
We've been blessed with God's blessings and our employees and everybody that's helped grow this business to what we are with a bunch of stores, and I way beyond my wildest dreams.
PennyMustard.com.
News Talk 1130 WISN.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Be sure to listen to the NX Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. NX provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. NX Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Here's why. Money. Warshevsky.
If you are searching for an island of decency in a sea of media corruption, you're in the right place. Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
You could win $1,000 to ease your money woes. Woo-hoo! The winning starts next Monday.
Your first keyword at 9 a.m. Good luck from News Talk 1130 WISN.
Attention I pay to internal memos or what's going on in our company. You just heard, if you were listening to us on our flagship WISN, that ad for the Fall Fortune Cash Contest, which starts on Monday. That is literally the first that I heard. The Fall Fortune Cash Contest starts on Monday. So we're all learning something together here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Ladies and gentlemen, second hour right now. It is a Wednesday. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we will play America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist? But we now sit 40 days until Election Day, and we can pause right now and just, I think, appreciate the sheer absurdity that it is 40 days until Election Day, and people have been voting for like a week and a half now. 40... Do you know why the Bible refers to the rains that led to the flood for 40 days and 40 nights? Do you know why Jesus was in the desert when he was tempted by Satan for exactly 40 days? It's my understanding that 40 days was in Hebrew or Aramaic. It was sort of a long time. This was sort of a shorthand way for the Bible's authors to say a long time. It rained for a long time. Jesus was in the desert for a long time. 40 days is a long time, and yet we're voting. In Madison, there is now a very real question about how many times people are going to be voting, as there are now 2,215 just random ballots out there somewhere. We think they're not going to be turned in. We assume the people who got them are going to shred them or do the right thing. We are given assurances by the deputy clerk now that there is a process in place for dealing with all of these extra ballots that are now out in the wild. They won't say specifically what it is, of course. Just know that everything will be okay. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130 is our adventnews.com talk and text line. Reach me toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com. We are streaming live via the Dan O'Cam on X at Dan O'Donnell Show, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Please do give us a follow, give us a share, give us a repost, give us a like, whatever. Also, like and subscribe, as the kids say, to the Dan O'Donnell Show YouTube channel. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. Earlier this week, it was revealed that the Madison City Clerk's Office inadvertently sent out duplicate ballots to voters in one ward. Oh, wait, no, that was actually 10 wards. Don't worry, though, it was just a couple of ballots. It's no real thing. Oh, wait, no, it's actually 2,215 duplicate ballots. How did this happen? Well, now the deputy clerk, Jim Verbick, is saying that it was human error. Despite duplicate ballots being sent out, he told WKOW-TV, "We will only accept one ballot from every voter, and when we get them back, we will make sure that we have only one ballot." How? Were there multiple ballots? Were there multiple envelopes sent out? What happens if a ballot just sort of shows up in one of the dozens of drop boxes that are scattered around Madison? This, ladies and gentlemen, highlights why ballot drop boxes absolutely are not lawful under Wisconsin law. This creates a chain of custody nightmare. I believe that mail-in balloting is a chain of custody nightmare in itself, and this is why I constantly refer to a bipartisan commission from 2005 that found the single easiest way to steal an election, to cheat in an election, is through mail-in voting. That bipartisan commission was co-chaired by none other than former President Jimmy Carter, lest you think it was just some right-wing thing. 20 years ago, Democrats as well as Republicans understood that it was easy to cheat in mail-in elections. This, by the way, is why Amazon, very famously right after the 2020 election, refused to allow a unionization vote at one of its plants, one of its warehouses in Virginia. It refused to allow a mail-in election there. Verbick tells WKOW that this error affected voters who have the same style of ballot, meaning these voters had the same offices on their ballot. So all 10 wards are voting for the same candidates for, district attorney or whatever is on their ballot, in addition to the presidential race, which obviously everybody is voting in. The clerk's office is calling this a data processing error. And according to Verbick, this means that two files they tried to merge were essentially copied instead of merged. About 3,000 voters all use the same ballot style, and we had to separate it into two different files to cover that range based on the limitation of the files that we can pull out of the registration system. Verbick said, "We tried to combine the two, and instead one of them got copied instead of combined." Well, that's all well and good, but how exactly did nobody notice that there were so many more ballots being printed until those ballots were actually sent out in the mail and people started contacting the clerk's office saying, "Hey, we got duplicate ballots here. What are we supposed to do?" Representative Tom Tiffany was on the Jay Weber show a couple of days ago highlighting this and demanding answers and transparency. And he highlighted the, shall we say, less than scrupulous history with which the city of Madison has run presidential elections. You might remember in 2020 something that I have lovingly dubbed fraud in the park. They called it democracy in the park. It was completely and totally unlawful. Basically, city clerk workers, volunteers, pretty much everybody who was left-leaning in the city spread out to every single one of the city's parks with what essentially amounted to duffel bags and collected ballots while sitting at a park bench or at a picnic table. You cannot find anything shadier than that. This was seen as so beneficial to Democrats that the Biden campaign actually was running ads on WIBA and other stations in Madison touting this. You might remember the famous, "Voting this year is as easy as a walk in the park." It was totally illegal. When I actually called the Madison clerk's office on this, do you know what they did? They sent a threatening letter to my bosses at iHeartMedia Madison, threatening, I believe it was the city attorney, sent a threatening letter to my bosses who replied back in the very eloquently written middle finger saying, Dan has First Amendment rights and there are legitimate questions about democracy in the park. This is precisely the reason democracy in the park was so dangerous, and this is precisely the reason. Oh, and by the way, when the Republican Party and the Trump campaign sent a cease and desist letter to the clerk, who happens to be the same city clerk who has now sent out all sorts of duplicate ballots to the single most Democrat city in the state and possibly in the entire known universe, Madison, Wisconsin, instead of responding to that, the letter said, look, we are going to file a lawsuit to preserve the evidence. Do not mix up the ballots that were collected in democracy in the park with the ballots that were lawfully collected through mail-in, or I don't believe in-person voting had started yet, which was obviously a massive, massive issue. That's right. In-person voting had not started yet. So they said, don't mix these ballots in with the ones that were lawfully mailed in. What does the clerk do, Mary Beth Witzel-Bale? She immediately goes back and mixes all the ballots together because she knew there was no chance that this would survive legal scrutiny. So if we couldn't figure out, after fraud in the park, where all those ballots came from, how in the name of God are we going to be able to tell which are the duplicate ballots and which are the legitimate ballots now that they're just kind of floating out there? Naturally, the Madison clerk refused to answer, and she sent her top deputy. Now, in his appearance on the Jay Weber show, Congressman Tiffany referenced fraud in the park, as well as in his letter to the Madison city clerk, saying, look, you have a shady history with running elections. We need an open and transparent process. Verbic responded to that with no comment. Seems like if it was me and everything was on the up and up with fraud in the park, he would have said democracy in the park was a completely lawful event that had no fraud whatsoever in it. He added, I would just say that the clerk's office is very transparent about everything we do with elections, and I would leave it at that. Like, say, when a set of ballots were under a potential subpoena, or would have been. They would have been preserved as evidence in a lawsuit against the city of Madison, a legitimate lawsuit, by the way, because this was early in-person voting before early in-person voting legally started in Wisconsin. And by the way, this was in-person voting in a manner that totally violates the respected and expected chain of custody of a ballot. So too do these ridiculous drop boxes. I will ask again, if a ballot just kind of makes its way into the drop box, what assurances do we have that that's not? How could you possibly tell if that vote is counted? Let's say in the O'Donnell house, there's Daniel O'Donnell and there's Mrs. O'Donnell. Only Daniel O'Donnell votes. Mrs. O'Donnell, she doesn't quite care for this. This, of course, is totally nonsense. She's even more conservative than I am. But in this example, only I vote. I am mistakenly sent 2 ballots. Okay? Let's say my wife is still registered to vote even though she didn't. What's to stop me from filling out the ballot in her name for the candidate that I want to vote for, knowing full well she's never going to actually vote? And even if she figures out that I voted in her name, is she really going to turn in her husband? This is a legitimate concern because we have no idea how exactly those ballots, where they are, who's going to fill them out, What exactly is the process for determining that this is a duplicate ballot that should never have been sent out? People are just sort of on their honor to send them back, right? What happens if they don't? This needs to be investigated by, I believe, the Wisconsin Elections Commission, which of course won't, because they refuse to investigate fraud in the park. Would you believe that? An elections issue in 2020, the Elections Commission said, yeah, this isn't really our purview. Yeah, this is the entire reason you exist, you idiots. I believe the Dane County Sheriff's Department should be investigating this. I believe the Wisconsin Justice Department should be investigating this. That's how serious ballot integrity issues need to be. So what does Verbic tell WKOW, the clerk? At this time, there will not be a third party investigating the cause of this error, but should it come to that point, the clerk's office would be open to providing any information necessary. The clerk's office adds, the duplicate ballots have identical barcodes. If a voter were to submit 2 absentee ballots, only one can be counted. Once the barcode is scanned, the voting system does not allow a ballot with the same barcode to be submitted. How do we know? Has this ever happened before? My point is that if you can ensure that every ballot has a unique scan, a unique code, then that's fine. I have very serious doubts, and I would like to see the duplicate ballots, every single one with the identical barcode. Verbic said, I would just tell the voters that you can destroy one of the ballots. Please do not send in both ballots, only one vote, one ballot, and the other can be destroyed. In other words, you're on your honor to do the right thing with respect to these ballots. Let's go out to the phones and talk to Justin in Mukwonago. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome to it, Justin.
Good morning, Dan. Thank you for taking my call. My first question is, has there been any response yet from the Wisconsin Elections Commission?
To my knowledge, no. I have not heard anything. The only public official that I've heard raising a stink about this thus far is Tom Tiffany.
And that would be kind of what I would expect, but there's a clear precedent here that there is no penalty for putting your thumb on the scales in elections in Wisconsin, and we need to start electing clerks in Republican areas who have the stones. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but they need to start doing the same thing. We need to find a Republican clerk in Waukesha County that's going to mail out duplicate ballots and see what happens. See if there's any investigation. See if it raises red flags at the Wisconsin Election Commission. Because until we start playing by the same games that they are, there's not going to be any change. And in my opinion, we need to get rid of mail-in voting altogether, but that's not going to happen until we win elections. And we can't win elections if we're not playing by the same rules. And we're clearly not.
And that's the thing that I actually thought long and hard about last night when I was getting ready to do this show. What would stop, say, I don't know, Waukesha County, just some random town. Let's do a random town called Danville. And I know, yes, there's, I think, an unincorporated area of Danville in Wisconsin somewhere, but let's just say it's Danville. Mayor Dan O'Donnell in Waukesha County orders the clerk. Producer Greg is sitting in for producer Andrew, who's sitting in for producer Dave. We are on like our third string of producers. Andrew's got to do some recording next door. So Greg's sitting in. Let's say Greg's the city clerk. I tell Greg, I want you to mail out the exact number of duplicate ballots that Madison mailed out. Well, you can't do that. Well, it's human error. We have no idea. I don't know. There are just ballots in the wild. Would that be tolerated? Would we be placated by an assistant, a deputy clerk? The city clerk of Madison is not saying a thing about why duplicate ballots just happen to go out in the single most liberal, most Democrat-heavy city in the entire state. In a state that, oh, by the way, has actually been decided by just a couple of thousand votes several times in the recent past. Let's go to Jeff now in Racine. You're on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Jeff, you are, in fact, a poll worker, yes?
Yes, that is correct. And I just want to verify that there is absolutely no barcode on a ballot. The barcode would be on the envelope.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yes.
Yeah. There's no way to once the ballot is separated from the envelope. There's no way to track that ballot, and that's by design. That's just so I can't say, right. Dan voted for so and so.
Yeah.
But so the concern would be that they separate. Once they separate those envelopes and ballots, that would be the concern.
So, in other words, if a ballot was to just show up, it could be run through the machine, no problem, whether it's a duplicate or whether it's an original ballot.
That is correct.
And this, Jeff, thank you for confirming that, because as soon as I read that from the deputy clerk Verbeck, I thought, wait a second, I thought the barcodes and all the stuff you scan, that was just on the envelope, that there's supposed to be nothing on a ballot, because we do have a secret ballot that is a very cherished concept in American democracy, that nobody else can tell how you voted, because we want to ensure that you're not pressured by anybody. And Jeff's right. If he sees my ballots, he sees me coming in, and I'm kind of a higher profile dude, and he says, oh my gosh, look at this. According to Dan O'Donnell's scanned ballot, he really voted for Kamala Harris. He's a phony. There would be a very, very big issue with that. So we make it so that once the ballot is out, as Jeff said, there's just no way to be able to track it. We'll have more on this, plus some of the issues that we've uncovered in West Allis and Wauwatosa, not with duplicate ballots, but missing ballots. We're going to push back Guess What's Racist by a couple of minutes. Don't worry, we will play it, all coming up after this. Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. It's truck season at Lynch. It's fall and hunting season is right around the corner. So maybe it's time you upgrade your truck, and the place to do it is at Lynch. This month at Lynch, buy any new car or truck and receive a $500 accessory gift card. Plus, Lynch has financing as low as 1.9% to get you into the truck of your dreams. Whether it's the F-150, Maverick, Ranger, Silverado, Colorado, Sierra, or Ram, nobody sells for less than Lynch. With over 350 trucks in stock and top dollar for your trade, it'll be easy to find the perfect truck at one of their convenient locations. Lynch Chevrolet of Mukwonago, Lynch Ford of Mukwonago, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Mukwonago, Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha, Lynch Buick GMC in West Bend, and of course, the Lynch GM Superstore in Burlington. Or search the huge Lynch selection and shop 24 hours a day at shoplynch.com.
Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. The best time to plan a funeral is when you don't have to. Church and Chapel Funeral Homes. There's one near you.
Want to sell your house fast for cash? Don't waste time listing your home. With Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer, get a fair cash offer. Choose your own closing date. No commissions or repair costs. We buy houses for cash, any condition, anywhere in Milwaukee. Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Need life insurance but have diabetes, high blood pressure, or on anxiety meds? If you're a 50-year-old male, even porky, or with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of life insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. For affordable term life insurance, call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013, 800-444-2013, or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. 800-444-2013.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Bob Tarantino here for EasyHomeBidder.com. A 62 Ferrari sold for $52 million and a 1955 Mercedes sold for $142 million, with both buyers and sellers excited to win. Want to win selling your home? Want to win buying your home? Only EasyHomeBidder.com guarantees maximum sales exposure and maximum buying opportunity. Sell or buy real estate, your big win is waiting at EasyHomeBidder.com. That's EasyHomeBidder.com. Real estate for winners. EasyHomeBidder.com. That's EasyHomeBidder.com.
Sorry for the delay getting back there, working on yet another story that I hope to have ready for you by tomorrow. Just in case you're wondering, no, I don't spend my commercial breaks sipping coffee and chatting with the girls in sales. Okay, that's exactly how I spend most of my breaks, but sometimes I'm actually working. This was one of those times. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Yesterday, we did break an exclusive story. A man from Wauwatosa believes that his mail-in ballot was stolen, saying that it looked as though someone just opened it right up and took the ballot out. Now, he reported this to the Wauwatosa clerk and was told that, look, we've had an issue with this, that the ballot sealing has been faulty, and that a number of ballots and their envelopes and the instructions. So when you get a mail-in ballot, you get three things. Inside, you get the ballot, you get the return envelope, and you get instructions for how to fill out the ballot and how to fill out the envelope. This caller, who didn't want to be identified because he lives in Wauwatosa and fears reprisal from the left for exposing any sort of election irregularity, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily a case of ballot theft, because he's saying, look, no, it does look like one part of the envelope that was sent to me was sort of rumpled up, like it looked like somebody took their finger and opened it, or took a knife or took a letter opener and opened this up. And the city clerk is saying, no, this was just, well, it wasn't, the ballots weren't sealed tightly enough. We also had a caller, Jim or Tim from West Allis. Tom, that was it. Thank you, producer Andrew, who is back from his recording session. Is everything going all right? Okay, it's one of the doctors for our weekend show. Oh, just a standard commercial. This, ladies and gentlemen, is ultimate proof that the commercials that air are infinitely more important than the show content, that my producer is abandoning his post to record commercials. I'm kidding. We obviously had the show well handled. Producer Greg on loan from the Jay Weber Show filled in admirably. So thank you for that assist. Tom in West Allis told us that the same thing happened to him. He opened up his ballot. He opened up the envelope. There was no ballot inside. Could there be an innocent explanation? Yes, of course, that it just fell out. Does this raise yet more concern about just how secure mail-in voting is? If we don't put enough adhesive on the mail, a ballot can just sort of be lost and in the wild. This is why there are specific rules outlined in state statute for chain of custody. When I go to vote in person, either in person or absentee in person, I know exactly where my ballot is going. What I do is I get the ballot from one of the people at the clerk's office. Usually it's City Hall if you're in a smaller city like me. You go down there, you are handed a ballot. You fill out the ballot. If it is election day, you yourself run it through the machine where it is counted. If it is an early absentee vote, you fill out the envelope, or the envelope is sort of stamped with, your information. There's a sticker that they put on it oftentimes. You then seal it up, and then you give it to the person who then puts it in a secure area where nobody can tamper with it. Nobody can do anything with it until that seal is broken on election day and the ballot is run through the machine by city clerk staff. You see the problem with having ballots just sort of mailed out willy-nilly. We have no idea where two people's ballots are, one in Wauwatosa and one in West Allis, and we also have no idea how many additional people got ballots in the city of Madison that weren't supposed to get them. You can see what a big issue this is and why I have been on such a crusade to try to get us away from this idea that we can vote for 40 plus days before Election Day and that ballots just kind of get. Do you realize that there are liberal controlled states where they just mail out a ballot to every single person regardless of whether they request one? With what has happened just in the last couple of days in Wisconsin, do you think this is a good idea, or does this practically invite cheating amongst the people who will just collect the ballots from those who they know will never, ever, ever vote? This is how ballot harvesting has sort of always worked. This is deeply, deeply unlawful. And this is why I am calling again on the West Allis, Wauwatosa, and Madison clerks to provide full transparency about what is going on, because right now I have got some serious questions about how all of those cities are running their mail-in balloting programs. Again, we're going to try to lighten the mood a little bit, serious topics at the beginning of both hours of this show. When we come back, we will play America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist, but we need your help. We need a contestant, so we will take caller number 22. Caller number 22 is going to be our contestant at 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476. Guess What's Racist? Coming up next.
When you have a stuffy nose, life can be a bit unpleasant. Some live every day with a stuffy nose, and that can make life downright miserable. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we are committed to eliminating your nasal breathing problems with simple in-office procedures like balloon sinuplasty, which requires no surgical cuts, little to no downtime, and can have you breathing better in less than 30 minutes. At Advent, we understand your inability to breathe freely limits your quality of life, and that's why we continue to pioneer the most advanced in-office procedures that have made our practice a global destination for those seeking to live their highest quality of life. Visit AdventKnows.com to see if you're a candidate for the balloon sinuplasty procedure, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Lock in for October. Brewers postseason tickets are on sale now. Clear your schedule, claim your spot, and be here for a Brewers postseason run you don't want to miss at brewers.com/postseason.
Dan O'Donnell here alongside Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. And this week we're putting a focus on the intersection of politics and economics, as the market is typically a pretty good predictor of the presidential race, Dave.
Yeah, there is for sure. You know, everyone pays attention to the polls and we look at them, but we look at other indicators. And one of those is, what does the S&P 500 do in the 3 months leading up to the election day? And it's been correct about 85% of the time. So if the S&P is higher heading into the election, that's obviously generally pretty good for the incumbent. The second thing we look at, what is the dollar doing? If the dollar is getting weaker, that is good for the incumbent. The VIX, which is the volatility index, is it calm or is it freaking out as we go into the election? And what is the unemployment rate? Is it rising as we go into the election? As of right now, all four of those indicators, Dan, are looking towards a Harris win. Don't freak out if you're a conservative right now, because there is generally an October surprise. What that could mean is the market could react, the VIX could go up, the dollar could weaken, and unemployment could go higher. So let's pay attention to all of the data as we get into the election over the next number of days. But as you said, Dan, the intersection of economics and politics is really front and center over the next number of weeks.
And that's why we cover it, not just here on the air, but also on our podcast, The Difference, which you can get on your iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Dave and I talk about that intersection of politics and economics and how both impact you. You need to know what you own and why you own it. You need a fee-only fiduciary to get you a review of your portfolio. It's called a Wealth Metric, available only at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week week with Annex Wealth Management.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
When you pull into your driveway, do you love the way your home looks? If you don't, we want to help. Hi, Colleen from Tri-County Contracting. You can absolutely transform your home with new siding. Whether it's insulated vinyl siding or LP Smart Side, we can give your house the upgrade you desire. LP Smart Side is engineered wood siding with a lifetime product warranty and a 30-year paint warranty. We can tear off your maintenance heavy cedar siding or old aluminum or vinyl siding and replace it with LP Smart Side. It fits with any style home and is more affordable than you think. We have many options and colors on display in our new Berlin showroom at 18500 West National Avenue. New siding gives your house amazing curb appeal. A beautiful custom Provia front entry door is also a way to upgrade your home. If you need one window or many windows or a new patio door, we can help with that too. For 46 years, Tri-County Contracting has been helping Southeast Wisconsin homeowners just like you. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Sometimes it's hard to figure out what to do about things like retirement planning, selling a business, or building your legacy. So when other advisors present products packed with commissions, you start to wonder, is this advice or a sales pitch? Annex Wealth Management is a fee-only fiduciary. No commission products, just clear thinking when it comes to investment, retirement, tax, and estate planning. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. It only takes a couple of minutes. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. That's Annex Wealth Management.
Get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
iHeartRadio is the easy-to-use app for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Sorry if I don't see you. Remind me of my eyes cross you. Keep in mind I'm not here. I'm in a different zone.
Talk radio redefined.
Sorry if my words hurt you. Wish I knew the time to lie to you. Keep in mind I'm not here from a different world.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Each and every Wednesday, we highlight the modern left's obsession with calling things racist. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to play America's favorite game show.
Guess What's Racist?
That's right, it's your chance to follow along and determine what totally benign thing is now suddenly and horribly, unforgivably even, bigoted. Our contestant today comes to us from Plymouth. Kyle, welcome to Guess What's Racist, sir.
Thank you.
Now, Kyle, I'm assuming you are familiar with how to play our game, but for those who aren't, Kyle, I'm sorry, are you driving through like a hurricane right now?
I am driving.
You are driving. Can you roll up the window, buddy?
Yep, let me...
Okay. Yep, just make sure you're safe. Okay. Is the window up? All right, there we go. Okay, all right. Were you driving like 85 miles an hour directly into a tornado, Kyle?
Not quite 85.
Not quite 85. Okay, all right. Well, are you sure you can play the game while safely driving? I don't want Guess What's Racist to be responsible for a car crash here, because you better damn well believe that would be considered racist. Here's how the game works for those who are unfamiliar. I'm going to give Kyle here a list of 3 things. All 3 of those things are going to be related, but none of them are going to be racist on their face. However, within the last couple of days, someone in academia, in the media, a Democratic politician, a talking head, has declared one of those things to be horribly racist. It is Kyle Kyle's job to guess what's racist. All right, Kyle, here we go. Question number 1 for you. Guess what's racist, Kyle? Elise Stefanik, Nancy Mace, or Lauren Boebert?
Lauren Boebert.
That is incorrect. Nancy Mace, according to left-wing academic and MSNBC and CNN talking head Michael Eric Dyson, he has now, on The View, doubled down on his heated confrontation with Representative Mace last month, insisting that he tried to be nice while continuing to say Mace is racist. Dyson said...
I must have missed that episode of The View.
I know. And normally I know you were driving so fast with the windows down to try to make it home for The View. I get that, Kyle. But yes, you probably missed yesterday. Dyson again accused Mace of being a racist by intentionally mispronouncing Kamala Harris's first name as Kamala. Well, after the exchange on CNN, Mace posted texts that Dyson had sent to her and entered them in the congressional record. Dyson was trying to hit on Congresswoman Mace, saying things like, "We look so beautiful together," probably proving that he really didn't think Nancy Mace was all that racist. On The View, though, he tried to save face. Question number 2. So you're 0 for 1 right now, Kyle, but I know you can do better.
I should have known that one.
You should have known that one. Yeah, if you listen to the Dan O'Donnell show, we kind of had a lot of fun with it last week. All right, guess what's racist, Kyle? Paintings, sculptures, or architecture?
Architecture.
No, I'm sorry. Paintings are racist now. Historic racism still negatively affects the paintings of black people and how they're perceived, as our study shows. This study, published to a website called The Conversation, even if it is not explicitly expressed, racist attitudes may have been implicitly held to an extent that they are able to influence the creative process. Implicitly held racial attitudes are mental associations that, when triggered by race, can guide people's judgment and actions. As a researcher in psychology, I wanted to explore if implicitly held racial attitudes affect the viewing of paintings when the images themselves make no suggestion of racial inequality. Guess what that researcher found? Hell yes! If you're racist, even if you don't think you're racist, you are going to be racist when looking at paintings. So paintings themselves, now somehow racist. All right, final question for you, Kyle. Guess what's racist? Allergies, asthma, or whooping cough?
Whooping cough.
No, I'm sorry. It's asthma. According to WIFR-TV, redlining policies and systemic racism affect childhood asthma. Of course, a study found this, a national study from the Children's Respiratory and Environmental Work Group, led by University of Washington health professor Jim Gern. Children growing up in the neighborhoods affected by redlining have a higher risk of developing asthma. Gern says that redlining reduced home loans and created neighborhoods with high poverty rates. This created structural racism, forcing people, including kids, to live in bad conditions. I'm sorry, Kyle, you went 0 for 3. I can see your window, or rather hear your window is down again. It's okay. You can hang your head out. You can yell out in frustration. You still have a way to go to understanding your place in this complex tapestry we call America's systemic racism. But Kyle, I got to tell you, you were a fun candidate, a fun contestant, and I am so glad you came to play today. Thank you so much, sir.
It was an honor.
You, ladies and gentlemen, have been listening to Kyle driving down the highway, yes, but also to America's favorite game show. Guess what's racist?
This is Mike and Jim from Brillo Home Improvements. You know, Jim, there are a lot of things that we're pretty proud of here at Brillo. But one thing that sticks out to me is repeat business.
Well, it means not only did we do a good job, but sometime during the project's progress, a connection was made.
Now, it could be because of the quality work we're known for, or it could be our down-to-earth approach.
But when we see folks come back to us for their next new project,
it expresses the one thing that our customers definitely need to have to hire us, and that is trust. After over 45 years, we've earned the awards.
And when you look at our portfolio of projects,
you'll see for yourself how good we actually are.
And when you meet us, you're going to know that you can trust us. For NARI award-winning home remodeling,
and about as down-to-earth of an approach as you're going to find,
go to BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
And it will only be a matter of time before we take your project to a whole new level.
Transforming your dreams into reality. Brillo.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage, so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Hi, I'm Willa Voss. I'm 8 years old. Mom and Dad own Cut and Go Tree Service. Yes, they did name me after a tree. Our family loves this country and the freedom it provides. Every morning, I look forward to starting the school day with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please say it along with me, even if you just say it in your mind. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. American patriots will enjoy a 5% discount for flying the American flag and mentioning this commercial when the Cut and Go remote control, automobile mounted, articulated crane, grapple saw operators are putting your dead trees on the ground or removing large branches that grew over something important. An all-American Tons of Trees movement. CutandGoTrees.com. That's CutandGoTrees.com.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream, but it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
If you're someone who is experiencing spine, shoulder, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
I opened a gold IRA with Noble Gold Investments. There's no better vote for your financial safety than precious metals. So Noble Gold Investments is giving away up to 10 1-ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with a qualifying account this month. Just use promo code TRUMP. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Business owners, when the time comes to sell your business, experience matters. Lake Country Advisors is your local award-winning M&A firm, and we're right here in Wisconsin. So to sell your business the right way, schedule a free consultation by visiting LakeCountryAdvisors.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
started, just tell you what not to do, right? So I could probably just watch you, you had the time, baby had attention, I used to take it out. I was kind of mad, I'm gonna talk to you, that's something
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. A couple of big interviews today for the alleged president. Weirdly, we're talking about The View again. President Biden is apparently on The View, saying Donald Trump doesn't believe in democracy, while his Vice President Kamala Harris, I'll be totally honest with you folks, I knew this was coming today. I totally forgot that Joe Biden was going to be on The View. It's the first time in the show's history that a sitting president has made an appearance, and Biden is just such a non-entity. He is such a figurehead of a president. He doesn't even lead his own cabinet meetings anymore. His wife is doing that now. I completely forgot he was going to be on. He is apparently saying that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, doesn't believe in democracy, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is today taping an interview with MSNBC's Stephanie Ruhle, who earlier endorsed Kamala for president. This is not going to be an adversarial interview at all. It is going to be another fluff like the Oprah interview was last week that Kamala still couldn't really handle. The biggest clip going viral from that is a comparison that is all over TikTok right now. It's about a 2-minute video, and it's one of Trump's town halls. I believe it was actually from the one in Wisconsin. Was he in La Crosse a little while ago? And someone asked him, what's your plan for getting prices down? He said, okay, well, first of all, we've got to increase domestic energy production because we have to get the price of gas down. Then we have to decrease competition from foreign importers for our farmers, make sure that we're making and growing things and buying food in America. And it was a very specific, about a minute answer. Then there was Kamala's appearance on the Oprah live stream, in which she said she didn't go to her old standby of I was born in a middle-class family, but she said, well, we've got to have aspirations and hopes and dreams. And she goes on for a minute of just nonsense. And it was actually a pretty, we played this on the air, as a pretty perfect encapsulation of the difference between the two candidates, whereas Trump is actually the one talking in specifics about how to fix the mess that Biden and Harris have gotten us into in both the economy and illegal immigration, foreign policy, all of it. Kamala speaks in broad platitudes and only does so in about the friendliest of possible settings. So now, of course, she is going to, and MSNBC is treating this like election night. They're not only going to air this interview with Stephanie Ruhle. Was Chris Hayes or Rachel Maddow, were they just too difficult of an interview for Kamala Harris to sit down for? She goes to Stephanie Ruhle. So they're going to play the Stephanie Ruhle interview, and then they're going to have a full panel analyze the interview as though it's a debate on MSNBC. Of course, tomorrow on the Dan O'Donnell Show, we will break it all down for you. As always, I watch the things that you just don't want to, because I will bring you all the latest information. We'll also, of course, have sound bites. I'm sure Biden said something remarkably stupid. I'm hoping he brings back my favorite Biden banger of the last year, and it's not even close. I hope he brings back Uncle Bozy being eaten by cannibals. That has got to be by far my favorite thing. That this even tops Corn Pop was a bad dude. And let me tell you, friend, in 2020, there was nothing I found funnier than the Corn Pop was a bad dude story. That was the one where Corn Pop and his boys were diving off the diving boards, and Biden called him some female swimmer, and they got mad. So they were sharpening up they were getting their straight razors all rusty in the parking lot to attack Joe with. And he came up and said, I'm sorry. And Corn Pop said, what? He said, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry for yelling at you to get off the diving board, but I'm sorry for calling you Esther Williams. Esther Williams, that was the swimmer. And in that moment, Joe Biden and Corn Pop solved race relations in America. Nothing tops. Yeah, my Uncle Bosie's plane went down and they never found him, but he was in Papua New Guinea in an area where it was known that there were cannibals. The government of Papua New Guinea said, dude, this is like really racist. Your uncle was not eaten by cannibals. He went down somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, I believe. So we will have all that coming up tomorrow on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Talk to you then, 9:06 a.m. and not a minute later.